Good morning. What is going on with my background? The hell? What has happened? That was weird. We'll go with I don't want to make people we'll stick here. Or hold on. Maybe this one. I don't want people to get motion sickness or whatever, vision sickness. Hell, I don't know. Hello, good morning. Happy Monday. Hello, 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 hello. Hey, mama. Chris, Okie, Zen, hey girl, Janine, Jen Lou, Bendy. We are swimmers. That's right, Penny. We're full sperm swimming through this world. Good morning. Hey, Steven. East Coast Beauty. Good morning. Scorpio Sting. Hello. Hello, hello. Yep. Hey, baby. I hope y'all are having a fantastic start to your week. For some, it's a work week. For some, it's not. No shade. Regardless, I hope you're having a fantastic start to it. All right. So, what we are going to do is we are going to step outside of the hostile environment that has become the Sebastian Rogers case. Yes, please, please, please hit the like. Let's get me up in the algorithm. Oh, it's a holiday there? Oh, what holiday, Bridget? Hey, Sassy Ann. What holiday? My coffee is so hot. There's been a lot you've missed. Oh, good, good, Nanya. I pinned the link to the first part of this interview that I clipped, which were um, just kind of like a few of the questions that they asked Chris on this panel. And I pinned it to the top of this live in case you haven't seen it. You can click that, you can save it to watch later. But I didn't want to go through the whole first part of this interview again. Thank you, Nanya. Kicking you in day algorithm. I need it. Lord, don't I need it. Hey, Charlotte. So we're going to just try to segue out of the toxicity of the Sebastian Rogers case for a moment. And we're going to watch an interview that Chris Proudfoot gave on Cluminati. I think this interview is important, not necessarily to show Chris. And I know we've all been focused on Seth, Chris, and Katie. To me, that's not what this interview shows. What this interview shows, yeah, it does show a lot of like Chris's personality, but that's not what I want to focus on. I want us all to focus on the information that Chris has given because this interview was all about Sebastian for the most part. Let me not push it. For the most part, it was about Sebastian. Oh, Pentecost. We get 2 days here for that. Oh, that was cool. Yes, they did have good questions. Good morning, Duchess. Walking to baby. It was a great conversation. It really was. And I will probably do the same thing with this live because I'm going over it with you guys. I did the first half in the video. This half I wanted to do with everybody else so we could just, bounce things off each other. But I probably will do another video cutting it down so that it's condensed in one spot, easy to get to. Hey, Laura. Glad to see you, Queen Bella. I think I said hey to you, Queen Bella. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. If I didn't, hello, my lovely Queen Bella. All right, so let's get this started.
All this news, we'll say, that was put out this week about the video and about the conversations from Sunday with, or from Sebastian and whoever. Have I'm sure you've heard about all this. So, I mean, is there anything you can say about
Oh
that?
yeah, we've heard it.
Okay. And I think law enforcement came out in a tweet and said that it's all false, if I'm not mistaken.
If everybody would go back to when I forgot exactly which one it was. I think it was the second press release that TBI put out on their website, and it was a pretty good one. It addressed speculations of the audio and technology, interviews, things like that. They have said that from day one, where it's been, and I don't. I'm not going to speak for Mr. Crabtree. I mean, he said something, and then he went back, out there,
Hey,
and he
Debbie.
said, "Look, I messed up. I made a mistake.
Welcome in.
After talking to so and so and so and so, we found out this, and he misspoke. You know what?
Okay, so this is basically Chris Proudfoot giving grace, extending grace, giving forgiveness to Stephen Crabtree. If you don't know who Stephen Crabtree is, make sure you go. Let's see, where's it at? And Scorpio Sing, I'm glad you're feeling better, love. I'm gonna give you this link. It's a kind of quick rundown of who's who and what's going on. Stephen Crabtree is the one on Mr. Tony Mathis's team that came out and said that law enforcement gave him 3 details that the public didn't know about Sebastian's case, and law enforcement came out and said, that never happened. So then Stephen Crabtree went live, said, oh, it's a mistake. It was miscommunication, whatever. So this part that we're witnessing right here is Chris Proudfoot extending grace for that.
That saying, I made a mistake, that's cool. Owning your mistake and moving forward, it's great, but I don't know how to have people truly understand this, but I promise you, there is nothing that the public knows that all 3 parents haven't known. Nothing. They will talk to us far before they talk to anybody else about anything out there when it comes to the case. And
here's Cluminati's link.
Go with it and do what they want, and that's fine. Even the PIs, when PIs get involved, PIs don't.
I just dropped the link to the video in the chat. This is on Cluminati's page. I told that bitch last night not to strike me. She said she'll think about it. I love her stupid ass. Anyways, so because I don't know if we'll get through the whole part of the interview. I'm hoping we do. So let me shut the fuck up. But just in case, I will continue to drop the link to this video. That way, if you want to watch the interview without interruptions or without commentary, you can do so.
Don't get any information that the parents don't have. That true fact, promise you.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that
it's
kind of evolved to where everybody feels like this person gets this information and this person gets that information. Nobody does. It is down to 3 people who get the most up-to-date information, and we're not supposed to divulge information. That's why a lot of what Katie and I don't talk. We don't talk really much about the case. One, we've been asked not to. What we have been asked to do is keep pushing, searching for Sebastian, keeping his name out there, getting the flyers out, searching. That is what we are asked to do. That's what we want everybody to do. When it comes to law enforcement, I'm gonna tell you that by far, hands down, they have been
Scorpio,
wonderful.
I'm so
anytime we've
sorry.
had questions, we have been able to have access to ask them and they answer. If it's not something they have, they do get back to us. That is my answer for Katie and myself. I'm not going to speak for Seth because I'm not on the phone with Seth when they talk to him. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying, well, they tell me this and they tell him this. And no, I'm not saying that. I'm just putting it out there. Law enforcement has been amazing to work with. So is everybody else. It just, a lot of negative rhetoric out there I think is what's kind of killing this thing. But trying to stay positive and doing the searches and the flyers and billboards and, shout out to everybody that has contributed anything to it. Thank you so much.
Hey, Chris, sorry, one last thing. Sorry. Did you really poop on a mouse on a stick? I have to ask.
No.
I'm going to tell you why. I had a nightmare when I heard that, and now
For anybody who does not know, some random ass dude called into T-Rev 757 pretending to be Chris Proudfoot's cousin, said that he knew that Chris Proudfoot was crazy from the beginning because as a child, Chris Proudfoot shit on a mouse and put it on a stick so he could walk around smelling it all day. So that's what this is about.
Hey, Chris, sorry, one last thing. Sorry. Did you really poop on a mouse on a stick?
Dude,
I have to ask.
no.
I'm gonna tell you why. I had a nightmare when I heard that, and now I want to be an advocate for the mouse on a stick.
He said I had a nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, if you could just answer that for me, I'd appreciate it.
No. When I heard that myself, I was like, what is this person saying? Like, where do you get? I was like, I can't believe this. Where do people
Me
come up with
too,
this stuff?
Jen.
Was it a rabbit on a stick? Was it a hamster on a stick? There was nothing in
No.
between.
No,
Okay.
no.
You don't shit on anything that's on a stick.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Especially around 4 dudes, you know. It's like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
You know, I had to Google why do people poop on a mouse on a stick and then sniff it.
She's lying. Don't nobody go Google that. If you Google that, you'll be.
Then shut up, truth. I am.
Single person out there. 1, no, I did not start the Chris Proudfoot is innocent Facebook page. 2, I'm not in everybody's YouTube thing, scrolling and commenting. Now, there is somebody out there with my name that's doing this. It's not me. Same, and I believe there's somebody doing it for Seth. And I think maybe even Tony and some other folks. I promise you, it ain't me. And I sure in the world don't believe it's Seth doing it either. Because he's not, as far as I know, he's not a huge social media guy.
Let's take note. This could have been a good moment to throw Seth under the bus, and Chris Proudfoot chose not to.
I mean, for him to be on YouTube is
And this is right after he found out that Seth sent Nina, his ex-wife, that recorded phone call between him and the PI. Let's just keep that in mind.
probably the most I've ever heard him do any type of social media. No joke. You
I
know,
believe that.
So
for
is
the
this
record, I just want people to understand that.
so is this picture that you've got here tonight? Is that the picture that shows up when you're in chat?
Well, if I
Chris?
give you that, well, here's the thing. If I give you that answer and people go out here and copy and paste that and use
Yeah.
it,
Oh,
ain't
okay.
the
I
first
understand.
time.
I
That's-
understand because I just don't
yeah.
want to be telling somebody much love to you and Katie, Chris, and then it not be, you know, I'm telling a troll much love to you and Chris, you and Katie, and then, you know, I'm telling.
Did block him, y'all.
Facebook, and
I
you
do.
find it.
Mhm.
Okay. And you
I
know,
understand. I have
as
to
much
work
time as I
too.
can spend with my wife and my kids, I'm going to do that. But occasionally, I'm able to answer some messages, and no, they're not super long winded. But you know, I'll let you know. It's like, hey, this is me. It's not me. I mean, now there's a way you'll know it's me. I'm not going to divulge that, but there's a way you'll know it's me.
Okay, I'll send you a message.
So you don't
I
have to answer, but
messaged his ass. He ain't never checked my message. Chris, check your messages. You ain't responded to me, and all I was trying to do was let you know, do not take your ass up on JLR. Do not.
have you ever played any games online with
I agree, Stevie.
Sebastian, Seth, and some person in Illinois, maybe, or something like that? Has that ever been a thing? Or
No.
Thank you,
I've
Laura.
never played
I love you.
So for the record, yes, I've played Call of Duty, and my buddies have got me on this new game. It's called Helldivers. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Okay, so the question was, did you, Chris, play, PlayStation with Sebastian and Seth? And I mean, this is an important question because Seth did mention, I'll just let it play.
But no, I have not been online to play with Sebastian, and I believe it
Right?
was whoever this person in Illinois is. No.
No,
Have
I
I been
literally
online?
just wanted to let him know, please, no matter what you do, don't fall for it. Because it's when they were trying to talk him into doing a JLR interview.
Playing a video game with Sebastian before. We've tried, but
I
because
did.
he doesn't have his
You know what's funny though? I didn't slide in the DMs and say, hey, can you please come to my panel? No, because I ain't about that life. I'm not a good interviewer. I don't know shit about it. I was just trying to bring awareness and let him know not to do it.
PlayStation account. He doesn't have a tagger, so no, he can't go online and play. But I've
Yeah, it's him with his baby, his little girl on his chest.
set beside him and let him play before, not online, but I've
I
let him
think
play before.
I think the question is in reference to Seth saying that the only people that he said in an interview that he knew that you and Katie would be mad by hearing this, but that he allowed Sebastian online to play games. And then a few seconds later, maybe a minute later, he said that the only people that he allowed Sebastian to play games with while Sebastian was at his house was, he said, his stepdad, meaning you, his friend in Illinois, and himself. And I think that's where that question's coming from.
Oh,
No.
well, then, no,
It did,
absolutely
Stevie.
not.
I can't
Have
help
not
it.
ever played with Sebastian online when he's at his dad's house.
All right, hear that again.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
well, then, no, absolutely not. Have I not ever played with Sebastian online when he's at his dad's house? Absolutely not.
Do you know who this guy from Illinois is?
No, no.
Is that a concern to you?
I don't know, because
Should be.
so we keep the households pretty much separate.
Yeah.
You know, what he does at his father's house, we respect what goes on at his father's house. What goes on here goes on here. Now, if there's something that we need to let him know in between, like, i.e., just so you know, Seth, he's been grounded from electronics for 2 weeks. He is still grounded here, but I'm going to let you know that so you can
Me
do what
too,
you so wish
Katie.
with that at your house, but here he's grounded. You know,
So
I
if-
do give the respect
Which-
of that aspect too.
I get it. We've got gamer friends in South Carolina that I used to be a Call of Duty whore. Modern Warfare 3 was my shit. I could still bust some ass on that game if I wanted to. I don't play anymore, but we met 2 or 3 friends that we always, like, you play with them and you're like, hey, I kind of like you. So then you become like this party, you friend request each other, you become this party. And then every time you go to play Modern Warfare or whatever, Call of Duty, you hook up with them and you go play, right? So I know what Seth means by having a friend that plays in Illinois, because we've got 2 friends, I think. Yeah, we did have more. 2 friends that play with Tony still today in South Carolina, and they've been playing together. Let's see, me and Tony's been together 16 years. So they've been playing together for about 13 years.
To his dad, but no, we don't. I don't know that person.
It's not a concern then. Like, in general, I would say if he goes online at his dad's house, right?
I don't personally. I prefer Sebastian not play online at all.
Right.
Good morning,
don't get me
Kate.
wrong. When I play some of these games and I hear some of these kids
Oh yeah,
through the headset talking on and playing these games, I'm like,
they're terrible.
does your mom know you talk like this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they talk worse than some grown men and women.
Thank
That's
you,
why I
Duchess.
don't let it happen.
I literally just was. It was just when they were all trying to talk him into JLR and trying to convince him JLR's a good dude, and I just reached out and said, for the love of God, please stop fucking entertaining these folks and do not go on JLR.
My son is 32 and he plays online, but he will tell me that there are kids,
Yes, he did,
young
Granny.
kids that come online, and he's like, you don't need to be online. And he'll tell me, they don't need to be online, Mom. They're young.
Yeah.
And he will tell me when the really young kids come online, he's like, get offline. And these young kids come online, they're cussing. They're like,
See?
your mom is a hoe. And he'll be like, bitch,
Yeah.
my mom's not a hoe. Get offline. But he'll call them a bitch because they call me a hoe. But he's like, bitch, my mom is not a hoe. Get offline. But he's like, these kids, he's like,
It's a group of who I interact with online. And if I have never, like, I have to have a reason to know you to be a friend and gamer, period. If you're just some rando that I'm sorry, we're not teaming up. And I don't know you, whatever, I'm bouncing. I'll leave the game, whatever. If a couple of guys, we got room and somebody joins in, nope, back out. We'll set it back to non-fill and we'll just play as, duels or trios or whatever. And there's just too much out there that can cause problems with all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if there was a way to truly find, like, measure, like, these kids, like, this is got to be like a 12-year-old in this group chat. Like, no, they need to be bounced, ban them, whatever you need to do. I don't know. They got to find a way to do something because it's just bad.
So
I love your
Chris, I have a
commentary,
question
Stevie.
from the chat, and
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I want to ask it because I'm pretty sure I already know the answer. But can you put any words to the allegation of Sebastian having to sleep in the garage?
No, Sebastian would never sleep in my garage, first and foremost. So I don't understand. Well, I do understand where that came from because there was some person saying they're my neighbor. They saw
They
my
are,
garage, that I had
Cammy.
a mattress for Sebastian out there to sleep on, and I pressure washed him. Like, does anybody stop to think where and how that makes any sense? I mean, if you've seen in my garage, there's no room for a mattress anyways to be on the floor for you to sleep on.
Well, that was kind of my thought process with that, because how does anyone
Second
even?
chance, it is often that, because I do let Caden play online, but I micromanage it to an extent. Like, I know who he's playing with, all of that. But there are times him and his little bestie for the restie, they are on there fucking causing havoc across these, I don't know, Fortnite, and I'll hear him cussing up a storm. And there's sometimes I'm like, hey, you got to tone it down, my dude. Like, this is too much. I can ignore it a little bit, but come on.
Like, see in the garage.
very seldom is my garage open for people to see into. If I'm doing some work in the garage, it might be open. When we come home, we pull in the garage and then we close it. We're normally not even out of the car.
Yeah,
before we close the garage
monitor.
door.
That's all you got to do
Yeah.
is monitor it.
I mean, that it's just, I don't know.
Speaking
need
of
to
the
be real
garage,
people.
Me too.
Speaking of
That's
the
what I'm
garage, Chris-
saying, Nunya. Like, Caden's in there saying, fuck your mom, your dad's a whore. Like, I mean, but he's such a sweet kid. I'm sorry. He is. He just talks shit on those games, but he is such a good kid.
Chris, did Katie meet up with your mother the morning Sebastian was reported missing?
Absolutely not.
That was another good
Did
question.
law enforcement track her?
Because pay attention now here, because this question it shows the proof. Like, he gives the rundown of how they've tracked all of them.
Or I'm assuming they got certain things off vehicles and things like that, or maybe they haven't yet because of the status of the case. But is there a track of the path that Katie took the morning she went out looking for Sebastian while she was on the phone with you?
Yes, everything that you could almost possibly fathom for law enforcement to check, they have checked. Everything has panned out. All the story, everything that we have told them is all checked out to the T. I mean, down to the phone call to law enforcement itself that morning. Katie, what time she left the house, the route she went, back to the house, et cetera, et cetera. Everything they can think of has been checked.
Awesome.
I mean, I know a lot of people still have questions. Oh my God, what about this? What about that? Like, I promise you, they've checked.
I know Katie's been under a lot of scrutiny for calling you first instead of Seth, but you and Katie are husband and wife.
Right.
Sebastian lived in your home. So I can understand Katie calling you first.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
you guys are married. She called you first. I understand the fact that that Katie was upset.
Mhm.
So if you had called 911 from your area where you were in Memphis, it would have went to Memphis Dispatch. So you had to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office directly so that it would dispatch to there. So, but I understand her calling you first, because if I had I would have called my spouse first.
yeah, damn right. Like,
So any tragedy, and
I would have
clarity,
called the
for
person I
clarity.
loved the most first. I would have called the person that I loved the most and that was the most supportive of me first.
so a lot of people have a hard time understanding this because, one, you can say what you want until you're in the position. Unless you work and you dealt with tragedy or high stress, high tempo type environments, and 90% of this world doesn't deal with that. You're talking law enforcement agencies deal with that, military folks deal with that. In certain aspects, that's part of their training. That's what a stressor. That's the thing. If they don't have that kind of world and they know how to deal with it, most people just won't. They're going to freak out and I don't know what to do. Don't do. Watch the shows. They call these 911 shows, and people are freaking out on the.
Oh shit, I was muted. They're smart, Granny. I was telling Bernadette, like, make sure to listen to this, because in the moment it wasn't like some life-threatening situation that they knew of. They didn't know what was going on.
The phone. I need this. I need that. Well, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. You know, it takes them forever. Simple. My wife was.
No one is cleared yet.
You know,
no.
she's calling me because I'm the husband. Yes, this is our house. You know, if there was something major going on or something,
She
she needed
did.
a 911 paramedic at the house, I'm sure she.
I agree, Tess. That's why I fast forward through a lot of her commentary. I like Kimber, but she was love bombing Chris. Absolutely.
She called 911 and got a paramedic. You know, we didn't know what was going on at the very moment. So she did what she did. She called me. We talked. We did this. We did this. We did that. Next thing you know, hang tight. Bloop. And I called the sheriff's office. And I got directly through the sheriff's office, immediately called
Good
the
morning,
dispatch,
Blue Bunker.
gave the call. Within, I think, 10 minutes of that call, they were at the house.
Look,
I mean, it was a very
Stevie
fast
said you
response.
muted, ho. Fuck you.
Chris, do you think that Seth had anything to do with the disappearance of his child?
No.
100% at your soul, you don't believe you,
I don't
Katie, or
believe
Seth?
Nunya.
No, absolutely not. And
It's okay.
everybody has their own opinions. But Seth was at work. You know, after I got off the phone with law enforcement, I told Katie, I said,
Another moment, Chris could have slammed Seth and decided not to.
I'll call you right back. Next phone call, the immediately next phone call I made was directly to Seth. Immediately. I called his phone. It went to voicemail. I didn't leave a voicemail. I sent him a text. As soon as you get this, call me immediately.
He
911.
is. I love it.
Still to this day, that's exactly what I told him. And he called me, and I told him, and I'll never forget that conversation. I won't. Nope. But I told him. He went to the house. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what people want. I mean, people are gonna want their own answers and their own
I think you're right,
theories,
Julie.
but I promise you, it is
It's just
very straight
Kind
black and
of
white.
in the moment, like not knowing what to do. Like the first thing was that crossed her mind was call Chris, my protector, my guidance, my other half, you know?
Like no gray area. It's right down the middle.
And-
here it is.
And Chris, I realize that people are speculating that your mother was there at the house when Seth arrived. And everyone's like, oh, Chris's mom was there. And I'm like, y'all don't understand. Y'all don't know what Katie and the relationship between Katie and Chris's mother was like. And Chris probably called his mother to have her go over there and be with Katie until he could get there to comfort Katie.
Yes, I did that. I did ask my mom to go to my house.
See,
Yes.
that's what I have been trying to tell people. He had her go over there you had her go over there to be with Katie until you could get home.
So here's a little cool little tidbit. So you know how certain, like, I don't know, certain phone companies have these trackers for their phones to track their kids and things like that.
Right.
Good
have
morning,
that.
Southern gal.
And it's not just me and Katie and the kids. It's actually my whole family.
Me
involved
either,
with it.
Laura.
And we have that Life 360 on our phones. And if people stop to, and this is what I was leading to, but if people would just stop and think about this, the first 8 days, there's not one aspect of mine, Katie's, or Seth's life that has not been combed through.
Thank you, Steph.
20
Yeah,
times
make sure
over.
you hit the like for me.
I'm sorry that you're thinking wrong, because it has happened. Every family member, any direct family member that we've made contact, and I'm sure they reached out to Seth's side too and did the same.
We did,
thing.
Bernadette. I agree.
I mean, everybody who had a possibility, they have interviewed, they have alibis, they've got evidence to, this person was here at this time, this person was here at this time, and that's what kind of upset me that night on that show when Seth said that, because Seth knows that my mom was interviewed. He knows. I mean, the law enforcement here was there in my house, and they told us all about it. I mean, it's.
And see, he
It's
has every right to be upset with Chris coming up on to that Web Sleuths panel and asking him about his mom and them going to Alaska. He's explaining here, he was like, this was already a conversation in private. It was already debunked in private by law enforcement. Seth knew that. So why did he bring that up again on Web Sleuths? It's hard to ignore that it seems like he enjoys the chaos.
so simple that it's probably a very boring case if you took away all the crap. It's just a simple, we have a 15-year-old autistic child that is missing. And unfortunately, the best part about it is he has managed to do this without any evidence left behind whatsoever.
Chris,
That is the most unique aspect of this case.
Chris, same
I
thing
agree.
I asked you the last time you were on here, and there's been some people in the chat asking. I think it's the most important question. How can we help?
Keep searching. I mean, like tonight I heard up in Amish country.
Yes, sir. We went there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Duchess.
Yamish, the Yamish,
Yeah.
I will testify to that. I mean, there, even locally, still today to this local event, that there are people who still don't know, and I don't understand how you don't know. One of Sumner County's childs are missing, and a lot of people don't have a clue.
I get that, Liza. I don't know if I always say Lisa, but I think it might be Liza. Let me know. I get that too, but like it just shows how different everyone is, because I guarantee if something like that was to happen, God forbid, the first person I would call would be Tony. Just I don't know why. I don't understand why that would be my first inclination, but it would. I would be like, if I woke up and didn't see Caden in his room and he's nowhere in the house, and I go outside and check the yard and he's not out in the yard anywhere, the first thing I'd do is would be call Tony.
Granted, okay, farther out in the sticks, like way deep in Portland and way far out in Castilian Springs, and then places where there's not a lot of folks, I understand they may not know that.
Well, Castilian Springs and Bethpage and Westmoreland.
Because it is a boring case, Bernadette. If you think about only the facts in this case, it's boring as fuck. Nobody knows anything. See, in your mind, it's not boring because you've seen all the chaos going on YouTube, as have the rest of us. But when you really look at the case and you look at the facts of the case, there's hardly anything to view, which is what leads these creators to create stuff, to create fake things for them to be able to talk about, fake drama, manufactured drama, so that they can have something to talk about. Because there's nothing, if you was to base all of your coverage off of Sebastian and the facts known, you really can't keep doing live streams on it, because you'd be stating the same thing all day, every day. So instead of doing that, they create they make this manufactured drama to add to it so that they do have stuff to talk about.
And Scott's
Damn
is
it.
aware of it. So
So we found something out tonight. Katie and I, we went out and had dinner. Went to a restaurant. I won't name the name, but I know that they had flyers up on their windows and their doors before, but when we went back into this restaurant tonight, there was no flyers.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. And it was like, wait, where did they go? I know they were up. I know they were put up. The gas station has one up still to this day. And how do y'all not have one up? It's like, but you can't, you don't want to go out there and cause a big stink. All you want to do is you want to be polite and just give him another flyer and ask him to please repost it. We're still searching. Keep his name out there. Do what you can. Keep looking. If you see something, definitely report it. Call TBI, call 911, give them the information.
I get
don't hold
that.
nothing.
I get the
Yeah.
doubts. I do.
And just keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. I mean, that's what we're asking.
So a question I've got, and we've talked about it most, I think everybody on this panel, without you, have talked about this. Do you think it's possible he
Yeah.
outwalked the search before it got started?
It's always a possibility.
Yeah.
It's always a possibility. You know,
They wait
me
for
and
it.
Seth and Katie and law enforcement sat down and had this discussion, you know, and they're doing their job based on what they are taught and what they are supposed to do. So I want that well known for the record. I even brought up, you know, let's say the average person can walk anywhere from 2 to 4 miles in an hour. Okay.
Mhm.
From midnight to 6 a.m. Sebastian could have had anywhere from a couple feet outside the house to potentially up to maybe 24 miles away. If you do the math on an average, you know, we'll play it some conservative. Let's say 2 miles in an hour. Okay. So from the house to 12 miles out, we don't know, but there's nothing to show. I mean, nothing. There's no evidence, no nothing.
Do you have an idea of, I mean, we're being told from midnight to 6 a.m., right? Because Katie went to bed at midnight. But is it possible that he could have left, say, 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m.? And if that is a possibility and he did run away, do you have any idea as to the type of person he would try to find? Meaning, like, so in theory, if he ran away, say he got 6 miles away, 5 miles away, and he was tired and he was, you know, he wanted to call somebody. Maybe he thinks his mom's mad at him. Maybe he
Me
thinks
too,
Seth's gonna be mad
Nanya.
at him. Who would be the other person, in your opinion, he would get in contact with?
Sebastian's smart enough. He knows if he needs help to go to find an adult. I mean, he knows, like, look for law enforcement, look for, you know, I mean, he's taught the basics, you know.
Right.
When he's at school, something happens, what do? You find a teacher. You know, out in town, you get lost, what do? You find the nearest adult and tell him you're lost, you know. And I'm sure Seth has done the same thing to help teach him certain things. I mean, there's nothing to say that.
Another moment that Seth could have been thrown under the bus out of spite, and he chose not to.
Sebastian wouldn't seek out people, because I truly deep down feel that he would. He would seek help no matter what.
That's
Chris, if someone found Sebastian, if they found Sebastian and say
I
they
agree,
found
Stevie.
him walking or they found him somewhere, what would you, I mean, beside from calling, of course, we would call 911 or we would call TBI fines or the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Would you suggest that we bring him in, give him shelter, give him water, give him food? What would you suggest?
If he is by himself and you see him, first thing I would definitely recommend calling 911 immediately.
Right.
Keep your eye on him. If
Mhm.
he's, you know, if you can make contact with him and offer him, you know, if he's hungry or he's thirsty, please do. Just don't offer him a soda, because he don't drink sodas. He
Okay.
hates carbonation.
Okay. That's cool.
It's so endearing to hear people giving facts about what Sebastian likes and doesn't like, what Sebastian would do and wouldn't do. I just had to say that.
people. But I mean, should we bring him in our home to offer him shelter until someone gets there, or
So what I would say is just call 911 immediately
Uh-huh.
and let you talk to them and let them tell you what to do. I am not in that position to do that. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play, like evidence,
right,
medical,
because
things like that. Like I don't want
right.
Chris,
And-
if somebody had Sebastian and they are possibly listening right now, is there anything other than the obvious of please bring him home that you would want to tell them? Maybe something about his medical condition that they could do to make him feel better. Maybe something he likes to eat that would give him nutrition. Is there anything that you would want to say that maybe someone, if they did have him, would may listen to and use what you're saying? Does that make sense?
Just make sure he's fed, he's taken care of, and please just bring him back, please. He's got family. This young man has a family now that is much bigger than his own family, much bigger. And there are so many folks that would love to see him return safe and sound. So please just return him.
Can you? And I appreciate exactly what you said. Oh, that's heartfelt. I'm going to push it a little bit more though. I hope
She
you can
is a
understand why.
blessing.
Is there anything that they can do for Sebastian to make him more comfortable? They, them, whoever, in the assumption that somebody has him. Meaning, is there a type of blanket he likes? Is there a stuffed animal? I'm just thinking, is there anything that you might be able to say that could bring some comfort to Sebastian if someone has him?
Just talk to him about his parents. He loves talking about his parents. And for him to know that his mom, his dad, and his stepdad, and his Pat, Meemaw, and the rest of his family, GC and Poppy and all them, trust me, he'll have a conversation and he'll light up. He's funny. He's very unique, which like every child out there is special. That's what makes him so special.
I gotta say,
that's
too,
right,
it's really,
Bimby.
for me, like super amazing to see the people in the chat, and they're like saying things like tofu, steamed sushi, chocolate milk, chocolate malt. Like people really do care about him.
Double malt. He
yeah,
loves
sorry.
double malt.
Yeah, that was put in here too. But people like really do care about him. You know what I mean? Like
here's a funny little story that the whole malt thing.
Me too.
That is actually something that him and my stepdad. My stepdad took him to, I think it was Culver's, and they do malts there at Culver's. And my stepdad loves double malt. He's like, I'm gonna get a chocolate malt, double malt, and he got one for Sebastian. And oh my god, that is like their thing. He's like, can we get a malt?
That is horrible. That is horrible.
Well, you can tell Sebastian when he comes home that he and I will go to Culver's for a chocolate malt, double malt.
He'll love it. Trust me, he'll love it.
It's on me.
I've never even had one of those. Are they good?
I've never had one either.
But
it's like a chocolate shake, but instead of like the shake powder, it's a malt powder. So okay, you ever had Whoppers?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Ugh, y'all gonna.
See, I don't like Whoppers. I don't like Whoppers. The texture is weird. How is a malt like a Whopper? Is it the flavor? I don't understand.
So Whoppers are a malt chocolate ball.
Oh,
that's what those are. They're malt chocolate
Whoppers.
But turn those into a shake. And
you would like those. Jesus.
You know what, Truth? We're not asking for anything from the peanut gallery tonight.
Well, I gotta stop. Angel, you didn't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. It says Clue and Mr. Clue split this up with Mr. and Mrs. Proudfeet, and you treat each other to a nice dinner. Mrs. Proudfoot deserves a nice getaway. So do you, Clue. Much love, always. Angel and Burger. That's her and her fiance. Thank you. We might split that up and go to dinner one night on the down low. So the paparazzi's not.
Yeah, you better
be on the real down low.
Yeah,
people be like,
it is
"Are
amazing
you gonna
to
live
see.
stream that?"
It is amazing to see the amount of people, and not just this show, but across all these other shows, that the amount of attention that people have put into learning Sebastian. The steamed tofu by fried tofu makes a huge difference. He won't eat fried. He loves.
We can never be certain. For the most part, I'm pretty confident I know everybody that Kaden plays with, but there are new people hopping in those servers all day. So again, it's about teaching your child the dangers of the internet, the dangers of grooming, the dangers of bad people.
Steamed, the chocolate milks, the Debbie cakes.
Y'all got to work on his palate. Y'all got to get him on some steaks.
I wrote what I wrote.
Well, here's the funny thing. So he's not a huge steak eater. He's really not. He loves fish. He's a huge fish fanatic. He loves like a good smoked salmon. Loves salmon.
I know that, Dutchie.
He'll eat the tofu, of course. Burgers. He's finicky about his burgers, but he's not a huge steak eater.
I bet he loves chicken.
Get 12 ounce. But
you're gonna have to work on that, Chris.
Oh, trust me, I've been trying. But I think the downside is he can't stand the way I eat my steaks, and I think it might be the huge turnoff to him.
Do you eat your steaks rare, Chris Proudfoot?
Of course he does.
Actually, rare is two done. If you want to know the truth.
Ugh. Ugh. Gross.
Chris
Yeah.
Proudfoot is my spirit
Like,
animal now.
So it's amazing. There's a lot
I
of
don't
places
even
we'll
like you
go.
right now. Shut up.
My steaks, and
Mhm.
Sebastian, he laughed at me when I first told him. I was like, I want it alive. Like, we're gonna fight on the plate.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah. If it ain't got a cold blood center, I mean, pull it out of the cooler. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Take it off."
Ew.
Oh no, mine can't be that.
You like it like that, Steph? Ugh.
It
Oh,
can.
It has to be straight raw.
This
No.
replay tomorrow is not going to be good. Chris
No.
Proudfoot only eats raw meats.
Proudfoot only, that's going to be all over the internet. Chris Proudfoot eats raw
I
meat.
can see the thumbnail now.
There's going to be a big fat cow cut open.
Well, so there's
Ooh,
one time I've seen
Steph.
Sebastian. No, I know I've seen one occasion,
What is she?
but I know of two
showing?
occasions. I'm pretty sure his dad was telling me they went to a restaurant, one of those, I think it was one of the hibachi places where they cook in front of you or whatever. And his dad was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, we go there and we get the steak, chicken, and shrimp." And he was like, "Sebastian, all my steak, I gotta get none." I was like, "Damn, that's interesting," because he normally doesn't like steak.
Exactly right,
I don't know.
baby.
He's got his moments where he'll eat steak with us. I think it was medium well to medium.
I
That he ate his steak.
I cannot with this chat. Chris
Sorry.
Proudfoot likes it raw. He likes the pink and swinging with Clue and Gletus. That's what they took from that whole conversation y'all just had.
Really?
Wow.
That's what they took from the whole conversation that we just had about raw steak.
And the name of Jesus.
You
Wow.
too,
They
Nanya?
are so tunnel visioned.
No, it's not. It's
Who are you?
not y'all. It's not trolls. It's the regulars.
Oh,
You know how we do.
okay. Oh, okay. I can't see chat.
Yeah. No, I'm whacking trolls tonight. I'm like whack-a-mole in this bitch.
Whack-a-mole trolls. But no, I mean, Chris, I'm not gonna lie. When all this first came out, I did have my opinions, but about 3 weeks in, I was laying here. He's on the spec. This case had shoes. She said, "I never hour." Said autism just because.
He's two different. So we've got both households. So he's one way at our house and he's another way at his dad's house.
Well, and that might be.
And I think that's where a lot of the
confusion.
conflicting, confusion and conflicting
Right,
information may be,
Chopper?
because Seth says this and it happens at his house.
I do
where
like sushi.
that doesn't happen here at our house.
And that might be where some of his that might be where some of his his what's the word I'm looking for, where some of his issues come in with the whole, because he has it one way at Seth's house, but he has it another way at y'all's house, and he's at y'all's house most of the time. And
where he
then,
has like a confliction between the two households.
yes, so it creates when he's there, but he didn't want to go to Seth's home because he was going to be homeschooled, and he likes the fact of going to school because he has friends there. He has friends at school.
Chris, I got to ask you, because it's something that's bothered me since I heard it. I'm not a big fan of people overplaying situations, right? So I have to ask, and it's in regards to Tony. Tony mentioned on a live a couple nights ago that you and him had a discussion, and during that discussion, you got loud with him or aggressive with him, and he put you in your place. I'm curious if
Stevie, I'll raw dog a good fruit platter.
A, that event occurred, and B, did you feel like you were put in your place?
So yes, we had a discussion, and it was the night that him and Pascal and Seth were on a show. And I called Tony after I believe they got off the show. I sent him a text, and anyways, it wound up being a phone call. And this was back before things decided, before he made a statement, the gloves are off. And he had said, my goal is to control Seth and control the narrative and protect you guys from being, bashed and thrown under the rug and all this. Well, on that show, Seth had made some comments on there that were not factual. And I told Tony, and I said, "Look, man," I said, "if you're trying to control the narrative, then you need to control your client. If you're going to say things, you need to make sure that they're factual, and that is what it is." He said, "Well, if that's all you took away from that interview, then you're sadly mistaken." Tony, I understand you got him to calm down, throttle back. However, what you need to do is you got to make sure things are factual. You got to put them out, because what he said opened up a whole different avenue to more speculations that would have never been true. And that was a concern with mine. So was it a little heated? Yes.
Hey, Gabble
He's in the same
Gee.
trade field as me. He's not an operator. He's a salesman. And he made a comment to me, and I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, but yes, So, I mean, was I put in my place? No. And I was, Mr. Mathis, I don't care what his end game is. I don't really care what his role is in this situation. I think that is a conversation him and I need to have offline. That's not something that needs to be put out in the public view, because all it's going to do is cause more chaos, more rhetoric. I don't need the headaches. I'm not here to play the games with them. It's simple. We all have the same mission at the end of the day. It is to bring Sebastian home safe and sound. That is the mission. That's it.
Agreed.
There's a difference in taking a high road and a low road, and quite honestly, that can be dealt with after the fact. The mission is Sebastian finding our son. That is the mission.
Agreed.
Clue's talking right here, but she's muted. So let me fast forward.
Can you talk about that at all? Offered to help, and can you talk about that at all?
Oh, yes, I mean, so there's a lot of organizations out there that are willing to volunteer to come and help, that do not necessarily need fundraising, but there are some organizations out there that may not be as big as others that may need some fundraising. But at the same time, I do think that before organizations become involved, that they without a doubt have to be vetted through law enforcement. I think that no matter what, no matter who you are, what you want to bring to the table, if you're not vetted through law enforcement and we don't get the Humny A-OK, I don't think that they should be involved. And it's no disrespect to anybody. It's a safety precaution for Sebastian. It's a safety precaution for Katie, myself, and Seth, and anybody else involved. There's too many questionable things out there that could arise to different levels of different things, and it's not what we want. We just want to find Sebastian. We want to bring him home. There's been a lot of stuff out there, like me and this I believe her name is Captain Canine Jules Valente. I think it's remember her name. Yeah, we had a very long conversation. We did, and I told her, said, if you have something that law enforcement doesn't, I am very open to accept it. But if you just have the same thing that law enforcement has, I don't want anybody else in my house. I don't. And it's no disrespect to anybody, unless you got something, or unless law enforcement themselves.
Yes, it scrolls the whole time on every single live.
Come to Katie and myself.
She doesn't use StreamYard. She uses 2 different programs. Like, she's using StreamYard right here where the 4 squares are. Like, this box right here is StreamYard, but the chat and all this other stuff is a different program.
And say, hey, look, we want to do this. If they say that, they know they have the green light to go ahead, but they will have to be here. Other than that, I'm sorry, folks. I love the help, but I don't need people in and out of my house. I'm not going to. And it's no disrespect, but there are other ways if you need things.
I get what you're saying, Mr. Nobody, but there's also the fact that this wasn't planned. Just like last time, he kind of just jumped up and started having a conversation with them.
We will accomplish those things, but people aren't coming in my house, period.
Chris, at this point in the day, I don't blame you. At this point in the day,
I
do not blame you for not letting anyone in and out of your house.
With StreamYard, okay.
Don't blame you guys.
Chris, are you uncomfortable in any way with members of Seth's team that have recently been shown to have current criminal activity going on? And I don't know, have you looked into seeing, or have you been shown that yet?
As far as there's certain individuals that I have that things have been brought to my attention on. Right. I'm not going to name who or what. It's not. Right. I'm not going to sit here and bash them on any show. I don't care where it is. I'm not doing that, because at the end of the day, they are still people. They have lives, and I don't think it's fair to bash them for any reason. That's not my job. My job is to be a husband, to be a father, a stepdad, provide for my family, be a good citizen to society, provide what I can, and live my life. That's my job, and that's it.
I want to give you an opportunity to clear something up real quick. I think it's important. You were talking about Julie, and I had looked into Julie a little bit just because of her canine training, and I had come across her production company, and I had kind of questioned it just based on how everything was going. A lot of this just seems like a damn movie going on.
Me and too, so Douglas. I couldn't imagine.
He posted a couple comments. I want to read them to you out of respect and get your response to them. I think there's 4 of them. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. It says, I'm just going to say it. I don't care. I'm not confirming that it's CP, but it's either someone he's very close to or it's him. I've literally had enough of the childish BS. Before that, she said, I'm extremely convinced of who Truth Not Feelings is on that one channel. They were stating facts that I know only one person would know. Also, remember the type of leash, but not the weather. She says, he literally came out of left field and started blasting my film company. And then she said, if it's a match, meaning she's running cross-reference checks, probably using, never mind. Anyway, if it's a match, guess what? LOL. Him and all those people, it's harassment of a federal officer. And if they have been dragging my name through the mud, congratulations, there's an extra charge. Would you like to comment on that?
Sure. So if Mrs. Valente is listening, and if somebody wants to play this to her, please,
what are you talking about,
okay
Tess?
What she does need to know is I promise her that whatever she wants to run, she's going to be disappointed to find out that whoever she is speaking to is not me. She should know whoever is, I don't know, trolling. I don't quite understand some of these terms, trolling, impersonating, trying to be whomever.
Let me give you some backstory just a little bit. So
Oh,
basically, I
you're
made some
saying,
comments in one
okay,
of,
you're saying somebody could take this part wrong. The email Cluminati tip line. I got you.
Illuminati's lives. I went up on panel on that, and there was on panel over in Granny's watching. And essentially what it was we came across the day before in Clue's live, her production company, in the movie that she did. And so for us, it was just interesting that you have someone who came out of nowhere and also had the production company. And so I just simply asked her a few questions. Apparently I was you, and that is threatening a military personnel. Also, because you're former military or still current military, would be is someone a military police officer when they're off duty?
So yes and no. So here's the difference. And this is, when she hears this, I hope she'll understand the way I'm trying to say this. And no, I'm not, this is not derogatory by any means. One, first and foremost, me and my wife are veterans. We no longer serve on active duty. We did our time, we got out. Now, Captain K9 is a reserve officer in the United States Reserves. She's not active duty. If she is on active duty, she may be, because sometimes they do get called active duty. However, at no point does a military police officer have any jurisdiction off of a military base to perform law enforcement functions without some sort of participation with civilian law enforcement. And the reason why I know this is because even when I was in, military service members who got in trouble outside of the base, outside of military functions, and had something with local law enforcement, local law enforcement would be involved, not military police taking that action. And then, you know, there has to be a handoff. So I'll give you an example. Unfortunately, there are some situations. There was one in California, and this was some years back. Service member got off work, was driving across a bridge, or was going to work, one of the two, and he was drunk, unfortunately, or he was tired. But he drove the truck off the bridge, and it landed on some folks underneath the bridge at a function, and killed some folks. So he was arrested by local law enforcement. Local law enforcement handled that situation, and then they worked with military to see what the military aspect is, what they want to do, et cetera, et cetera. That's how that works.
Right.
No MP will walk off of a base and say, you're under arrest. Now, if we're in a foreign port, somewhere foreign shore, and we have shore duty military police, then yes, they can interact on foreign shore to take care of a military service member. Yes, that is possible, but not here in the States.
And let me be very clear. I have researched this young lady, and she does have credentials for her dogs. She does stand up for what she says she does. I've never said she didn't. I understand she's a great dog handler, but sometimes, you know, people just don't want to have exterior people at their residence. So I'm in no way saying that she's not qualified. I'm in no way saying she's not a good person. And more importantly, I'm sure she's a great person who's just in a really, really shitty situation with everything that's been going on.
Well, I mean,
She
so
put
from what I
herself
understood,
there.
I don't know if Seth reached out to her or she reached out to Seth. I don't quite understand that situation. But regardless, she talked to him. I had made a comment. She got upset with it, but she is passionate about what she does. First and foremost, she is very passionate. I am not discrediting her for anything of that. But when we had our discussion, she had told me, she's like, look, that thing I posted, you know, I'm sorry. I just kind of took it like it was an attack. I said, I promise you, I'm not attacking. I was just telling you what I was told from law enforcement about how the dog situation works. You know, I'm not an expert, never claiming to be. So we had that conversation. I thought we had a great conversation. And I'm pretty sure, I think it lasted for like an hour and a half. But it was a good conversation. And at the end of it, we were okay. We were good. And I said, you know, if something comes up and we, you know, if we need to, can I reach out? She was like, yeah, definitely. I was like, okay. You know, she discussed me about her dogs. She sent the credentials. She did talk to TBI. They looked at her stuff and said, you know, she's legit. So I don't want anybody to think that she's not legit, for the record.
We say that again for everybody in the back of the bus.
Yeah, she is a legit dog handler. She was discussed and talked with TBI. They called us and said, no, she's legit, for the record. You know, it's just, there's really nothing that I know of that her dogs are going to come out here and do that law enforcement's dogs. And when I say this very respectfully, from across the state in various districts, various states even, that brought in dogs from all over the place, federal dogs, I mean, all kinds of stuff. If they couldn't do it, I don't understand what one more dog is going to do, and it has done all the same training as the rest of them. What is it going to do different that they didn't already do?
That makes sense. You know. Do you think? Do you have any idea why, when Sebastian ran out the front door, he would leave his phone behind?
Honestly, I don't. So it's very tough to get Sebastian to carry his phone with him a lot of times. Like, hey, do you have your phone? Well, no. Go in the house and get your phone.
Right.
Okay. I mean, it's, you
know. Here's something that I'm not sure if anybody's asked you. Early on in Sebastian's disappearance, Seth had made a reference to an extra phone or another phone that he was going to give to Sebastian and didn't give to Sebastian. And my question is, do you have any response to the theory that Sebastian had a phone y'all didn't know about?
I don't have a response to that because one, I wouldn't have known because if he did, it was at his dad's house.
See, it's
So it would have
underhanded
been
shit
his
like
house,
that.
or maybe
though.
let's say near the retention pond. Is that somewhere that he would go? Like, is that if he would get angry or whatever it might be? A 15-year-old boy's got emotions too, right? So would he frequent that area? Do you know?
As far as I know, Sebastian never left the house. The only 2 times that I know of, well, actually, we'll call it 3, but I wouldn't call one of them leaving. He was caught outside of our yard when Katie and I were coming home, but he was across the street in our neighbor's yard.
Right.
And the law enforcement already know this, but it's not like he wandered. And there was 2 times on that, and then the other time was he went out to the bus and stood at the bus super early. And Katie found him. Was like, "What are you doing? It is way too early to be at the bus stop. Get back in the house." Now, mind you, the bus stop is our driveway.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
But he's not a runner. He was never. I don't know. Sebastian never sleptwalked. He never took off. And I don't know about his dad's house, but I'm willing to bet that he didn't do that at Seth's house either.
Even when, oh man, I don't even know if I want to go down this route. Did it ever make you feel uncomfortable as a stepfather with Seth leaving Sebastian home alone while he went to work?
That's definitely not a road we'll go down. That's just kind of his dad does what his dad has to do, and like I said, what he does at his dad's house is dad's business. What happens here is our business. Until it becomes a concern that has to be addressed, then we'll go down that road. But that's
got you.
Yeah, off tracks. What?
I understand. Latest.
Hold on, he ain't over here yet.
Water, no water.
Oh gosh, if we start that, I'm sure we're gonna get ridiculed for that too. We
That's
gotta
all
be
right.
careful with that.
There's already plenty that'll be ridiculed. You won't never stop that.
I mean, you are a human being, right? Like, you do have emotions and feelings, and you do cry from time to time. Like, that's normal, right?
I have emotions. Some of I'm pretty numb on some emotions. But I mean, I'm a guy. I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm a guy.
Right.
Guys, we'll handle our emotions in our own way in due time. And when there's a major tragic event, we're not.
The world doesn't really give a fuck about us. That's the reality.
Well, as they say, women, children, and dogs
Yep.
are really conditional or truly unconditionally loved. It's like.
And Seth,
I mean, it's a good thing. I would tell people. There's I forgot his name. There was a guy who was on YouTube, and he did a song, and he talks about how guys feel,
right,
or how they feel inside, but it's really not out there for the world to see.
You talking about Dax?
Yes, yes, To Be a Man. That is the one. That's pretty spot on. It's really that's pretty driving that nail in that coffin right there. I don't know how much more truth you can get to it, really.
I agree.
We've asked you a ton of questions. Is there anything you want to address? Anything you want to say without a question coming at you?
No, I mean, we would love for people to understand that we are human. We are people. We have emotions. We have our thoughts. Everybody has their own opinions. I don't want anybody to think that we would want to control a narrative or an opinion or whatever. People are going to be upset with us. People are going to have their own ways of thinking what they want to think. That is perfectly okay. Perfectly okay.
I will say for the record that I do have a voice, but I'm just choosing not to speak on panels. And I want everyone to know that I'm okay and my husband does not abuse me.
Now, when that part happened, I was so confused because I wasn't watching. I was just listening. I was like, who the hell is that? It's Katie. Listen again.
I will say for the record that I do have a voice, but I'm just choosing not to speak on panels. And I want everyone to know that I'm okay and my husband does not abuse me.
Katie.
Sorry about that. That was off. That was way off. That was me and my voice throwing skills, everybody. Yeah.
Awesome voice throwing skill, Katie.
I'm
Katie,
impressed.
You got to look at not throwing shade. It's not about us. This is ultimately, truly about Sebastian.
Focus here when that happens, and I appreciate.
I mean, trust me, it's not. You're right. It doesn't do anything for Sebastian because here's the other way of looking at this, and this is
I don't
something
think it's weird at all. It sounds like a mom who's been pretty much keeping her mouth shut, and she's just like, she took the moment to be like, hey, y'all cut it the fuck out.
People should try to see it from this point of view. Take away the parents and our feelings. Think about Sebastian, how he's going to feel when he comes home. And trust me, he's going to hear and see all this.
Tall boy.
They are going to be like, look at this. He'll go to school and people will say the same thing.
Me
Those
too.
kids, I mean, we all went to high school. You all had bullies. We all had, everybody got picked on in different ways. I would not be surprised if when Sebastian comes home, goes back to school, people are like, oh my God, your parents are this and this. He's got to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to him. It's not. You know, and that's one of the reasons you got to look at not throwing shade. It's not about us. This is ultimately truly about Sebastian. You know, I will say this, me and Seth's mom had a disagreement. At some point I would like to say that we could sit down and have a discussion and get over it. You know, will it happen? I don't know. Maybe in due time. I hope, and I'm not going to elaborate what the discussion was, but you know, I know I'll probably get some crap about this, but I did reach out to her on Mother's Day, and I did wish her happy Mother's Day, regardless.
What an asshole.
I know.
Oh my gosh. You wished her happy Mother's Day, Chris?
Yeah,
Now,
I did tell her.
did
I said,
Seth
How could you do that? How could you wish her a happy Mother's Day?
did
And
Seth
how could you actually be a human being?
did Seth reach out to Katie for Mother's
It's
Day?
it's just too much.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if he sent her a message. I don't dig through her phone. I'm sorry.
Oh, good answer.
You got to trust your partner. You got to trust your spouse, and that's what we do. I mean, and I'm sure if he did, I'm sure she probably was like, "Thank you," or, you know, despite, you know, how the emotions and people's feelings may be. Compassion is a virtue that is lacking in
This
this world. It truly is.
was
You know, but she
a day
just told me
ago.
that I guess Seth did not reach out
This
to her
was
on Mother's Day.
immediately after Seth lost his shit on Smileys. Chris watched it. So this was right after that.
Oh, she also told me to ask you something that you would answer. So the lab, I guess Josh at the lab is on this whole Katie wasn't interviewed by herself and whatever, because I'm sure that's how the police do it. But could you tell him, I guess, through proxy, if Katie was in fact interviewed alone?
Yeah, she very much so was. And I'm surprised he hasn't talked to Seth. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, there was an event that took place, and Seth got talked to separately. I got talked to separately. Katie got talked to separately. And when I say separately,
But in all fairness, Mr. Nobody, listen, I think all the parents should stay off of YouTube, period. But in all fairness, Seth has what, 5 or 6 panels he goes on? This is the one panel that Chris and Katie are, other than Duchess, this is the one other panel that Chris and Katie are comfortable with going on. Why is that a bad thing?
Everybody was moved to different locations miles apart when that actually took place. So, no. I mean, we were.
I don't think Clue's doing it for views at all. I think that Chris is comfortable there, and after everything, like, she was going over the Smiley interview and he jumped up, so she cut it off.
I figured.
We weren't even together. We weren't even together when she took her polygraph.
See,
and I wasn't together with either one of them when I took my polygraph, and nor was Seth. Seth was completely away from everyone when he did his polygraph.
Here's the thing. No matter what your conspiracy theory, you've been vetted, vetted, taken. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
You know,
Thank you, Chris.
Was every electronic device, anything that had a digital footprint, was it thoroughly looked at? Was it scanned? Yes, actually, everything was. And I know it's hard for people to truly understand this, but there's not one aspect of our lives, including Seth, and I mean, some even extended family that was looked at electronic devices, things like that, just to get the clarification that people were where they were when they said they were. If there was no forms of communication that took place because somebody thought that this, and this, and I promise you, absolutely zero chance that they missed a device.
Chris, I have watched them try to bring your entire family into this, your entire family, beyond your mom, beyond, I've watched them try to bring your cousin, who I used to work for.
Stand up, man. Well, because there's, in this world, they say like 1 in 6. No, you know, like one person out of every 6 people, you know, somebody that they know that they know that they know. That's how small the world is. In some aspects, it gets smaller and smaller. So you may say something, and it may eventually down the road, karma has a way of coming around with a name and a face. Be careful. We don't need that. People don't need that. We all need to be standing citizens that take care of one another. I'm sorry, but I can't stand to see how much negativity is going on in this world. I don't know. I'm questioning, where did we go wrong?
Oh yeah, YouTube.
And I just can't stand to see that.
YouTube will make you sit and question, like, I think it's natural to assume that people are generally good, but YouTube will make you question that. Like, I'm not kidding. It will make you the true crime part of it at least. Lord, Kimber's done drunk, fell off the panel, come back up. I swear. But
I'm here. I'm here. I have actually heard people say his cousin, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no. He didn't have anything to do with it. They won't say his name. And I'm like, I know that guy. And they're like, well, what's his name? What's his name? I'm like, no, I am not telling you his name. They're like, well, you don't know his name. I'm like, oh, yes, I do. And he is a stand-up guy. I used to work for a company that dealt with him. I will not tell you who it is. I will not tell you the cousin's name, but I used to work for a company that worked with him. I no longer work for the company that works for him, but I will not tell you his name. But I know him. So
Tonight's live is brought to you by Boone Farms. One bottle is never enough.
you know what, Truth? Go, Truth, fuck off.
Ooh.
I love you.
All right, Seth.
Did you just call me Seth?
No, he said Beth. He said Beth.
I said Beth. Yeah.
He better say Beth because I'm going to where he is from.
First of all, hey, got a little, just one little suggestion for you, Kimber.
What? Did you shoot me? Do you have a leak over there?
You know,
I mean, he's an adult. He deserves to have a drink if he wants to. I was more saying that instead of, you don't have to go to that, you can go to appreciation of what you have. You know, but if,
Yes.
if someone wants to relax and have a brewski, then there's nothing in the world wrong with that. And just because your child is missing doesn't mean that you don't deserve to have a few moments of just normality, or as much of normality as you possibly can have.
yeah, you're very true on that. It was funny. So it kills me. A lot of people, I guess some people feel that, when in this event that you are 24/7 in the most desperate, down and out, sobbing situation, like 24/7. And some people have made it very clear that that's the way it should be.
No.
I don't know. I just can't do that. And I believe that, like, there are certain things that Katie and I know about Sebastian. That's our own personal memories that we're like, you know what? This is like Sebastian would do this or something,
Yeah, I can imagine that happens more, than you would want to admit, I mean, no one can understand the loss. And I mean loss as far as missing. I want to be very clear that, and that's one of the reasons, by the way, they thought I was you, because apparently I use the same terminology. But let me make it clear that the idea here is that no matter what your personal opinion is, no matter what you think is right, I couldn't imagine how hard it is to have a child missing, but more keeping the hope and the belief that he's still with us and that he's fighting the good fight, right?
always.
I know that is what we need to keep in mind. I know that people want to talk about other options and things like that. There's too many stories of months or years later of someone being found and being found safe. So I, for one, until Ellie tells me any different, and I'm sure, Chris and Katie, y'all are the same way, I'm going to believe he's alive. And so with that belief, I have to believe that Katie or Seth or even Chris didn't directly do anything with him or to him, right? Because if they did, then he probably wouldn't be here, right? So for me, I pray for your wife. I pray for you. I also pray for Seth. But more importantly, I pray for Sebastian tonight, that when he goes to sleep tonight, that he's comforted and that he's well taken care of.
Thank you. I mean, it means a lot. And I'm sure everybody, I would hope, would have the same feelings about it too, but it means a lot. It really does.
So if I understand it right, pretty much out of what I've gotten out of the panel tonight is two things more important than anything else. Stop going after Seth. I mean, I think that you do pretty well taking the heat. So if they want to come after you, then let them keep talking shit about you, right? But I think that even for myself, because I've been hard on Seth, I've been harder on Seth than I've been on y'all too. But I also base mine off what I see as someone on the outside with the limited information that I have, right? But after asking you that tonight, and then you also saying that, Katie kind of seconded that opinion, I can tell you, for me, I'm going to try to push away from looking at you and Katie and push away from looking at Seth as well, and just think about it as, what can we do next? Because I think if we talk to you and we have these conversations with you or with Katie, and then we don't turn around and work on trying to push towards the goal that you and Katie want and Seth wants, which is ultimately Sebastian home, then we're really just fucking off for no reason. So.
Well, I mean, as much as I hate it, I hate the negativity. I truly do. At the same aspect of this, people are going to continue to do what they want to do. It's their choice. I wish that they would understand where we all stand on this. But I do agree. It's tough for people to stop with the rhetoric because it's drama. It's feeding their clicks and their likes and whatnot.
Has anybody approached you or Katie in regards to, and I know this is going to sound odd, but there's a reason for it, in regards to any type of documentary or any kind of film at all?
No.
Amen.
That is good to hear.
Hey, Sherry
I mean,
Ann.
I would hope people would respect the fact not to do that. I really do. I mean, I know but again, look at all these cases that are out there. I mean, the Summer Wells case, it's TBI, not too long. I think it was like a day or two after or before Sebastian went missing, that they had just released her, what they perceived what she would look like at 8 years old. 3 years. 3 years.
Hey,
And I sit there and I
Cash.
look, and it just, God, it sucks. And I don't know. I haven't ever talked to those parents, and I don't know what they go through. I don't know how they feel. And it sucks. And I hope that people do at some point respect how they feel, and that nobody would come after them with that kind of situation. To me, it's amazing that, you know, she's got that ability that she can move around. And
you know, I understand that YouTubers make money off this. I don't even personally have a problem with that. I think the problem comes in when that money is made with a, you know, harmful heart, if that makes sense.
Maliciously.
oh yeah,
Making up fake
I mean,
rumors
I've mentioned to some
for your
creators before,
clicks.
you know, like, think about the families that are involved in this, you know, and you're making money off of this. You know, if people want to try to make it right, people make money on this. Donate all that money that you make on this, put it back toward the whole reason we're here. You know, help fund billboards. help
What's
get
up,
flyers out there,
Daddy? I seen you
signs,
get timed
whatever.
out in Deetsies last
Find
night.
different ways. I mean, I'm not saying by all means every dollar you ever make, the rest of your life, you know, no. But you know, show some sort of compassion, not just being on your tube, but there are ways to show families that you care, and not necessarily, and make your money without being rude about it.
I would agree with you 110% on that.
I mean, I'd be honest with you. I don't necessarily have to agree with everybody's visions and their opinions, but I'll tell you right now, you show families something in that realm, like you're putting back toward the cause, I guarantee you probably get a lot more response from every aspect, not just one side of the coin, but from all aspects. I think you would be able to profit a lot more off of it too. But I mean, it's a lot of money. You make a lot of money, but a lot of money goes into. So here's a good little thing. I don't know if we could start. I got a good idea to start. Well, it's not my idea. Hold on. First and foremost, this was Katie's idea. So she goes, we need to get everybody to start posting and liking and tagging Taylor Swift. Sebastian loved Taylor Swift.
Y'all
Yes.
hear
And
that?
that woman's got one huge following. You know, she's up there with, you know, Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce. She's gonna be an iconic type of like figure, you know. And Sebastian, that was like one of his, Mom, Taylor Swift. Well, Katie's thing is, if we can tag Taylor Swift and liking it and get her to spread it, you know, her following would be huge. You know, you never know. It may work, it may not. Who knows?
I agree, Tess.
Tag her in the description right now.
Hey, for the record, I was hoping we were going to get some of the cranes for the new stadium. I was going to be ecstatic just to do that, but
You know,
Holly show,
They're talking about
and they posted the response. I was very.
but I think we have some of those resources, or there are some of those resources available. But I think, like I said, it still goes to if we need, and we do need, the everyday person to be involved and to spread the word, then we have to give them something to do. And a lot of people want to go search. And I know that putting together something big like that is a lot of work, but there's a lot of groups that want to go just, you know, maybe 5, 10 of them. And if law enforcement would just release where would be some possible places to search, I think that would be an amazing start. So if you have any way of communicating that, I mean, I think that would at least give people that want to be doing the right thing, going out and doing things and searching, it would give them something to do. You know what I mean?
interesting.
So I have some information. I'm not going to say where I got this information from, and I don't want people to speculate, but if you read statistics and everything like that, if you believe in those numbers, outside of a 5-mile radius, I would start going
Yep.
north,
Tag Taylor
and
Swift.
either northeast or northwest, but definitely gravitate north. You know, if you put two or three groups together, one goes, let's say northeast, one goes northwest, and one goes north.
Right.
Statistically, you know, if you look at how it goes, seer or search and rescue, things like that, that's probably going to be an area where I personally would start.
Hey, Clue.
Yes.
Can you do me a favor, please? Can you pull up the area map so he can show where he's talking about, like from a stretch out?
And vicinity area. So if you moved north, New Hope Road Church of Christ is within 5 miles.
Okay.
So I would say just outside of that.
Past here.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're going to find out a lot of this area is very, very wooded. You're going to have different traverse of terrain there. I mean, hills, flats, hollers, ravines. You're going to have all kinds of stuff in these areas. But north, northwest, and northeast.
Okay.
And I mean, keep in mind, whatever people do, please just knock on folks' doors and get
Oh,
permissions. Because I mean, you start walking back in there, there's a lot of deer stands, a lot of deer hunters back in that area. I think we're still in turkey season for the spring.
But it's good. He's telling them like places outside of the 5 mile radius that could be searched.
But yeah,
There's definitely a lot of heavy growth throughout this area specifically.
Yes.
Has anybody contacted what was that, Long Hollow Church of Christ? Is that what you said it was?
140 for
And
like
she
a
was
week.
like, she was like, if I get Chris on here, I'll hit 10,000.
But we went like 8 hours and we got off there and we were like, holy crap. Like, where's the time?
I mean, the fact that, you know, I took a polygraph, okay, that was a waste too, but whatever. If me taking a polygraph satisfied a lot of people to help clear some rhetoric or whatever, that's fine. I'll do it. You know, and Seth did the same thing. That's fine. Katie took hers. That's fine. Not a big deal. You know?
Right.
I agree. And I also feel like Seth probably took it to do the same thing, right? Like get rid of a lot of the BS and all of that, but it just didn't turn that way. You know what I mean?
Well, Seth made a mistake when he went out there and he went on a show and he started running his mouth saying what happened. He should have never done that.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, the Polygrapher should have never gave him the test.
I agree.
Never.
Yeah.
And I'm very confused as to why they did. I mean, knowing what I know about polygraphs and what you have to do and all this stuff, like, I don't care if they paid him or not. You should never. He'd have never made it through the first hour of the polygraph. They did it right. They should have never. He would have never made it through the first hour. You know, it takes 3 hours at minimum to do the polygraph.
No way,
Good
loose
Lord, I'd be a hot
asshole.
So here, I'll walk you through it real quick. It's when you go to the polygraph, you'll go into the room, you sit down with your interviewer, and they bring me back in the room. I definitely my
We
personal
know
advice
he
is
took
real-
a polygraph over here, so we ain't even
Maybe
questioning
maybe
that.
somebody you might want to reach out to. And I think that
one lane. Here it is. We're not deviating. We're not going off course.
at it, but it was just somebody that is, you know, used to this area, used to the environment and things like that. But you know,
Right.
just
So right, and Tony would be equivalent to what Mr. Dingman is. I guess Tony, he's got the knack. He helped the Harris case, whatever, because he worked with the Harris father. And
yeah,
whatnot.
no.
So that's my advice would be stay away from all of that and go find a law firm that specializes in this. And the reason why I say that is because there is pieces of like details that law enforcement do not absolutely want out there, period. There's
Yeah.
not. You know, they had many discussions with me and Katie and said, do not release this information. Do not say this and don't say this. And there were some instances that Seth has slipped and let some information fly.
Which is why they don't want to talk with him anymore. He needs to drop all this extra bullshit, all these extra people, all of these outsiders. You don't need a PR guy if you're doing what's right and not trolling or going panel to panel to panel. You wouldn't need a PR guy then. You wouldn't need somebody to help tell you what you should say, what you shouldn't say, what interview you should do, what interview you shouldn't do. You wouldn't need that. Just get rid of all the outsiders and focus on your working relationship with LE.
And that's where I think by having a lawyer or law firm do it for you, you're safe. They know what they would be allowed to say, what not to say.
I agree, Cash.
Much better way of putting the information out there than getting trapped. You know, and I'm gonna say this. I think some folks when they did their interviews with Seth
Have fun, Mr.
should
Nobody.
have stopped. There were certain things that they said and brought up. They should have stopped. Don't start going down rabbit holes.
100%
You know?
agree with that.
And
Yeah,
I
I
think
guess
that's where a
because-
lot of things went down wrong. It was just because of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's some emotional manipulation, and not all of that is necessarily on purpose either. I genuinely try to see the good in people as much as I can. You know what I mean? With the understanding that most people are just fucked up in general. But, you know, let's just, I don't know.
Stop.
Yeah, it's unique, you know, but staying on the safer side and just having like a lawyer or law firm do it for you, you're protected by doing it that way. Let's put it that way. If you stay protected, stay in that realm, keep it very narrow scape, like just one lane. Here it is. We're not deviating. We're not going off course. We're not doing this. It's right there.
Send our
what they
love,
need
Mr. Nobody.
I agree
I'm
with
sure.
him. I agree with him. The only person who can stop all that madness is Seth.
I can agree with that as well.
I can agree with that.
Although,
too.
like I said, I understand where Seth is coming from. He's grasping at straws the same way I'm sure y'all are, just not publicly, right? But it's just the manner in which it's all being done. It's just gotten so grimy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that you've come out and spoke a couple times, and I don't know if that helped very much either, even though I'm sure you had the right, you know, thought when you did it. The same way I think that Seth, for the most part, has the right, you know, he all he wants to do is find his son too. But I just think all of this has just turned into shit, and it's got to be stopped.
It is, and I agree with that. I mean, like, some people are like, well, you didn't do yourself any justice. You know what? It's not about doing justice for myself. It's not. You know, it goes back to where some people have to understand, like, people kept poking a bear, and you poke a bear, and you're going to get the things that you don't like. And it's not a personal attack, but you got to understand, I'm not going to let people just freely, willy-nilly keep doing the things that they did. It's not right. You don't have the right information. You know, if you had the truth, you wouldn't be spouting out the information you have, because absolutely you wouldn't. Just because you have false information, why would you do that? I don't know. I don't get why people did what they did, but it's okay. It's done and over with. You can't fix the past, you know. But
well, listen, I appreciate you answering my questions. I'm about ready to call it a night. It's super late.
I was just about to say, Clue done went over and laid down.
Thank you,
No
Cash.
offense to y'all in the conversation, but that's a lot more interesting to me.
He is on
You
point.
know what I mean?
no, that's understandable. Oh yeah.
Well, that's not awkward
Oh
at all.
no, Mr. Nobody, you
Hey,
wasted
when she
all
gives
your
me the mic
time with
in-
us.
Chair, I mean, hey, you know what? I can't be held responsible.
Facts.
So,
Well.
you know, let's get you some sleep, and it's gonna be a good day. Hopefully, we'll have great news, and we get to move forward.
Yes, sir. That's what I know I'm praying for, and I know there are a lot of people out there that are doing the same. So
Absolutely. If you don't mind, real quick, everybody in the chat, if you'll do me a favor and stop messaging anything for a second, we're going to do what we did last night and have just a moment of silence. No typing, no talking, nothing. Just give it.
Okay, so the link is, let me drop the link. That's pretty much the whole interview. There's some things I skipped around. But I don't know. We've been so focused on all the negative lately. And this wasn't meant to give Chris props or take away from Seth. This was meant solely for Sebastian. That discussion was pretty much 90% of that discussion was about Sebastian. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I hope you guys did too. Whether you're team Chris or team Seth, I'm team nobody but Sebastian. So when I heard those details being given and the little stories being given about Sebastian, I was like, more people need to see this. Like, if you haven't seen it on Cluminati, let me stream it and see, you know, show people how good that interview was. Well, that's true. Not lately. YouTube always focuses on the negative, and I'm part of it. I'm absolutely part of it. But at some point, like, listen, it's one thing to bring in the breaking news of the chaos, right? It's a whole nother thing to go backwards. I don't feel like we need to go backwards. If you want to bring up the new chaos, or you want to bring attention to the new scammers coming in, and I get that 100%, but let's not go backwards. Let's stay going forward. Well, thanks for being here, little Irish girl. All right, guys, so that is the show for today. I think the jerks are live. I'm not really. It says they not a very smart. Okay, so they're going over. They're going over Smiley, I believe. Here is the link. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you, Mod. You're the best. I have the best subs, the best chat. Gang, gang. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Deep down, we are all the same. We all want to be happy. We cry when we're hurt. We're angry when we've been mistreated. And to be liked, accepted, respected, not to mention loved, is the greatest gift of all. Yes, we're all alike. On that note, take care of yourself and each other.